CNN has announced a climate change crisis town hall on September 4th. But interestingly enough, only 8 candidates are attending. So more on this from CNN. CNN is devoting the evening of September 4th to the climate crisis. 8 of the Democratic candidates have accepted CNN's invitation to discuss this critically important issue. Joe Biden, Cory Booker, Mayor Pete, Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren and Andrew Yang. Citing a scheduling conflict, Senator Kamala Harris of California declined CNN's invitation. Now, when I read that, I have to admit, I already correctly guessed what the answer was, or what the reasoning was, why she's skipping this climate change town hall. And you can probably also guess the reason. This from ABC campaign reporter Zorine. New. Kamala Harris top bundlers are hosting fundraisers for her in downtown LA and Hancock Park. Those fundraisers directly conflict with CNN's climate crisis town hall, which Harris is not attending. What else is there to say? I mean, I can end the video right now. This is the problem with the system in a nutshell. Kamala Harris skipping out on a climate change town hall to go to a high dollar fundraiser with special interest donors. This is why you should only trust candidates that are simply taking individual donations and are not going to any private fundraisers. Only 2 candidates in the lead in the top 5 in this race, only 2 candidates are doing that. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. And it must be said that Elizabeth Warren said that if she won the nomination, she would open it up to anybody. So she would have those private fundraisers. She would take in PAC money. Bernie Sanders has made it clear that he is only going to be of the people. He is only going to be accepting individual donations, having no private fundraisers, no corporate money, no PACs, no bundlers, none of that. Only individual donors. And I show this map all the time, but it's worth showcasing that this is part of the reason why people trust him. This is why Bernie has the most individual donors across the country by far, almost doubling the second place Elizabeth Warren in those individual donors. So you have to support a candidate that you can actually trust on these issues. When you have candidates going to these private fundraisers, skipping out on a climate town hall to go to a private fundraiser like this, what does that say about their priorities? I mean, she's not even hiding it. It's out there. So like she could be pretending right now. She could say, you know what? I'm not going to go to this private fundraiser. I'm going to go to this climate change town hall simply as a way to pretend that she cares about these issues. But she can't even pretend to care about these issues because it's not about that for her. For her, it's completely about getting as much money as she can from these special interests, being in the company of the wealthiest people in the country, and getting their worldview on what she should do if she became president. So, like, this completely speaks for itself. And this is, there's a pattern of this with Kamala Harris. So, as Bloomberg wrote a story on the same day as this story, I believe in capitalism. Kamala Harris courts big donors in the Hamptons. Teslas and Maseratis lined the street as Kamala Harris greeted guests sipping drinks from plastic cups with her name on them and eating cinnamon sugar donuts from Dreezen's at a fundraiser hosted by movie executive Jamie Patricoff and his wife Kelly as the summer of Democratic fundraisers rolled on in East Hampton. So just one of many examples. I've done other stories on her fundraisers. And it's not just Kamala Harris. It's all the other top candidates. Pete Buttigieg has the most billionaire donors by far, has 23 billionaire donors. Kamala Harris, I believe, is a third on that list in terms of how many billionaire donors she has. But Joe Biden, again, corporate fundraiser after corporate fundraiser, meeting with special interest big donors. The top, or 3 of the top 5 Democratic candidates, Biden, Buttigieg, and Harris, keep having these massive fundraisers with special interests. Now, I mean, this leads into the policy issue. So in the case of Kamala Harris, I can pull out one issue. Her position on Medicare for all. So back in 2017, she co-sponsored Bernie's Medicare for All bill, made it seem like she supported his bill. I mean, when you co-sponsor a bill, the assumption is you support what is in that bill. But then recently she rolled out her own version that she's still calling Medicare for All, even though it isn't. So her plan rolls out Medicare for All over 10 years, as opposed to Bernie, which is 4 years, or Pramila Jayapal's plan in the House is over 2 years. Kamala Harris is over 4 years, but it's not even really Medicare for All because it expands Medicare Advantage, which is the private insurance aspect of Medicare. And she says, well, Kathleen Sebelius, Obama's former Health and Human Services Secretary, Kathleen Sebelius, she supports my bill. Kathleen Sebelius works in Medicare Advantage. She's on the board of a Medicare Advantage company. She stands to financially benefit from Kamala Harris's plan. So of course she supports it. But this is how, it's hard to even explain their thought process. They really think voters are stupid. They really think you won't even do the basic amount of research to look into why someone like Kathleen Sebelius would support Kamala Harris's plan. They really think you're that dumb. Kamala Harris is not standing up for the average person. I hope this is obvious to most people now. I do hope somebody brings up the fact that Kamala Harris is at a private fundraiser. I hope someone brings that up on the town hall stage during that climate change town hall. But at the same time, Tulsi Gabbard completely wrecked Kamala Harris in the last debate. She dropped in the polls. Harris did considerably after that debate. So it may not even be worth bringing up Kamala Harris's name at all during this town hall because it's not clear she's going to regain any of that support. But understand here, Kamala Harris continues to raise this amount of money from these special interest big donors because to her, this is how she runs a campaign. This is what matters. Courting big donors, courting what their interests are on policy, talking to the wealthiest people in society and getting their perspective on what she should do as president. I mean, even if you put this is why Bernie avoids these fundraisers and why Elizabeth Warren is avoiding them, at least in the primary, is because they know it's human nature for your environment to affect you. So even if Kamala Harris went in there with the best intentions, which I don't think she does, but even if she did, it's human nature to be affected by your environment. So when you're surrounded by people that are, the very top of society that are giving to your campaign, that will obviously have an impact on how you run your campaign, what policies you support, and what you would actually fight for as president. And clearly, Kamala Harris is not someone that can be trusted.